Here we go. Take a look at this clip. You're going to get angry, my Christian friends, and those of you that follow me or been new to me. I'm going to say there's a advisory. The guy uses a slightly foul language there, so just be advised, and I'm going to give you a warning to that. Take a look at this, and then we're going to talk.
You have big, goofy, dumbass John Fetterman roaming the halls at Walter Reed Medical Center amongst heroes with his head down, shuffling in his Carhartt sweatshirt. I'm sad. He is disgracing an institution, a building, a facility that has honor. Now, you saw that video with these amputees at Walter Reed. Did you notice their attitudes? Did you notice that not a single person in there is walking around feeling sorry for themselves? Young men and women who are treated at Walter Reed are America's finest. They are the young men and women of this great nation who sacrificed dearly while wearing this nation's uniform. You see the positive attitude. They've lost limbs. They've lost legs. You see the attitude of these young men? Hey, it is what it is. Got to drive on. And to think John Fetterman is roaming the hallways amongst heroes with his head down. I'm sad. I have clinical depression. He's an embarrassment. Get him out of there. He doesn't deserve to be at Walter Reed amongst those men and women. Doesn't deserve it. Because he's sad. Jeez, oh man. Grow a pair. Toughen up. Get some mental toughness.
And as you can see, this guy, Teddy Daniels, he is what you would call these so-called Christian nationalists. And I hate to use the word Christian, because this guy's not a Christian. I mean, he went on programs and running around talking about his faith and all of this stuff when he was running for lieutenant governor, and then he tried to run for the 8th conditional House seat or something in Pennsylvania. And here he is, belittling and talking crazy about John Fetterman because the man is dealing with depression and things like that. And you see, remember I told you, these people are way out there. And you wonder, some people wonder, like, why am I talking about? I mean, these people have infiltrated the church because leaders, church leaders, pastors, leaders within the society that are out there have failed to stand up to these types of people and been quiet and silent on it. And they're still silent. And what's the shame is, a lot of them, truth be known, they love this type of stuff because they're affiliated with it. A lot of them, they endorse them or do whatever, these types of people. This guy is a disgrace to use Christendom and act like he is part of that and wants to wear a nice cross on his neck. But look at his pictures. Look at the pictures in the background. Look at how he is. And look, and guess what else? What he's guilty of. Take a look at this. What else he's involved? What he was involved in?
All along.
In fact, tomorrow, I don't even like to say it because I'll be arrested.
Well, let's not say it.
We need to go. I'll say it.
All right.
We need to go in to the Capitol.
Let's go.
It's the morning of January 6th, and thousands are filling the National Mall in Washington. Trump will speak here at the Ellipse, a large park near the White House, and a half-hour walk to the US Capitol, where the election will be certified. Who's actually in this crowd? Most are ordinary citizens who believe Trump's lie that the election was stolen.
It's going to be a great day. It's going to be wild, as Trump says.
But we also see more extreme groups who've gained a following during Trump's presidency. There are followers of the QAnon conspiracy,
Drinking their blood, eating our babies.
who believe that Trump is facing down a cabal of Satan-worshipping pedophiles. Q posts often invoke notions of patriotism and predict a coming storm. And ahead of January 6th, some supporters call for violence. The Oath Keepers, a far-right paramilitary group, are also here.
We have men already stationed outside D.C.
Their leader has said the group is ready to follow Trump's orders and take members of what they call the deep state into custody. They're organized, staging their military-style equipment neatly on the ground. And later, they put on body armor, talk on radios, and chat with their supporters on a walkie-talkie app called Zello.
We have a good group. We got about 30, 40 of us. We're sticking together and sticking to the plan. Y'all, we're 1 block away from the Capitol now. I'm probably going to go silent when I get there because I'm going to be a little busy.
Another group is the Proud Boys. They're far-right nationalists who flash white power signs throughout the day.
Check out all this testosterone.
They became a household name when Trump invoked them during a presidential debate.
Proud Boys, stand back and stand by.
And that's what they did. They have a history of street violence and will be key instigators of the riot. We'll return to them soon.
And as you can see, that's a clip from I think it's the New York Times. It's one of the best videos. If you want to see the best video out there on January the 6th that's put together with thousands of hours of footage and broken down how it was penetrated the Capitol, and I mean it's the best one out there. It's got millions of views. It's a very good video. So I'll put it in there so you could take a look. He was there. He was boasting and bragging and excited that he was there. And he looks like one of them kind of guys that would be there, don't he? He looks like that. But here's the other thing. This so-called guy that wants to save America and thinks that he represents Christians. He's right before he's had three times where he had basically restraining orders against his ex-wives and them. He was put out of the house and had told to make it, I don't know if it's guns, something crazy, but right during that time when he was running in 2022, he had got his wife was saying he was threatening her and all of his ex-wife and all of this stuff. And prior to that, back in 2013 or somewhere in there, so the guy's got a temper. And you can see, look at him. He looks aggressive. There's no love showing within his heart. And you think that what's a shame is because all of these Christian leaders in society and pastors and churches have sat back silent. And they've let these types of people raise up all of these types of people. And they sat there, and then the world looks, and when you talk about Christian and all of this, they laugh. They don't want nothing to do with Christianity. They think it's a joke. Because when you hear Christian and all of that, they see these types of people because all of these types of people are in the spotlight. All of these types of people, the Marjorie Taylor Greens and all of them, they're all Christian nationalists that act like they love the Lord.
Party of nationalism, and I'm a Christian and I say it proudly. We should be Christian nationalists.
Lady, they speak in church.
Historic. This year, we're going to... What's about to happen is historic. This year, we're going to see silver easily shoot to $60, then go to $140, then go to $600. We're going to see historic price moves for precious metals into next year. Because why? We are heading into the third seal. We're about to witness the third seal of Revelation, the financial rebalancing. The angel of death is coming to visit these people. These people are going down. These people who control the world think that they are pharaohs. The present day pharaohs, soon you shall never see again. This is coming with the greatest wealth transfer in human history. Gold and silver are going to explode in value, giving wealth to the church, to you, so then you can prosper all those around you, because everything when God's kingdom comes in abundance and overflow. all debts. Who has credit cards, mortgages, student loans, they will be canceled.
They go to these events, reawakening and all of this stuff, and they want to talk about the love of trying to lead people to Christ. Give me a break. Don't nobody want to come to Christ with people like that representing. I mean, it's crazy. And here he is, want to talk down about somebody with battling with mental health. And it just goes to show you. I mean, we can get into it and go down that political road of who's responsible for cutting all the funding and all of that kind of stuff for mental health. It's been happening for a long, long time now. And if you notice, anytime things are on the chopping block over the years, over the decades, it's always been the mental health. It used to be a time when there was plenty of mental health facilities and there was funding and all of that. A lot of this stuff is people's got to leave the state if they need some type of treatment that's not there in their community or whatever. And because they take it serious. And then when some type of mass shooting or something happened, oh, we need mental health, this, that, and that. But then there's no funding. They don't want to deal with that. And and many of you, mental health is personal to me. Mental health is personal to me because I've got family members that has battled and have issues with that. And on top of it, my mother. And we'll talk about that in a second because many of you may know it, but I'm going to share something a little more. But before that, it made me think when he was talking about this Senator John Fetterman and belittling him because he's battling whatever he's going through. And it made me think of Sylvia Plath. For those of you, she's a novelist, American novelist, a poet, novelist, that my daughter loves to read. She works at a bookstore for her little, my daughter is about to graduate here. She loves it, and she loves that kind of stuff. But that's to hear this woman, Sylvia Plath, for those of you that know, she was battling depression and attempted to take her life several times. She drove her car off a cliff or off something into the water. She took some pills and underneath for the porch and tried to take her life. And then ultimately she did. And there's a footage. I can't show the video on here because it goes against, I believe, against YouTube's rules if I show it. It's not crazy, but I ain't gonna say it's not crazy, but it's not gory or anything like that. But I think it still will go against her rules. Where she basically carbon monoxide and took her own life in the oven, showing you how sick she really was by putting herself within an oven. That she was seriously sick. And the doctor prescribed her doctor, when she went back into that depression mode, and her doctor prescribed her a certain medication and was trying to get someone to stay up on her because he knew that she needed to be watched. And because, medicine like that, a lot of times it takes 2 to 3 weeks before it to get into your system. And it was too late. And here she was. She took her own life, unfortunately. And what's even sad, she had 2 kids. And what's even sad, in 2005, her son took his own life. And it just shows you, it runs in family somehow, sometimes, and it runs in mine as far as the mental health issues. I've got some family members that battle with that. And back to my mother. My mother, some of you, if you don't know, if you knew, she took her own life. I saw her take her life and what she did to herself. And the thing was, my uncle didn't tell me until about 2003 or 4 that my mother had been battling with suicides and attempts and something was going on with her. And my aunt used to say when she would visit and come to Chicago and visit that my mom would just sit there and kind of just be in another world a whole lot of other times and stuff. And my uncle told me, and for those of you who don't know, my dad is dead. He was murdered when I was 4. My mother committed suicide when I was 3. And my dad wanted to get her help. But unfortunately, especially in the black community, and it's still like that in many ways, that it was taboo. It was a thing of shunned, and no, you don't have enough faith. That's the thing now. The people don't want to talk about it. You don't have enough faith. You can be stronger and all of this stuff. The same way this Teddy Daniels guy talking about toughen up, get mental toughness, and all of this crazy stuff. When it's actually a chemical balance and things going on. Schizophrenia and all of that types of stuff is real. It's not a demon, as a lot of Christians would say. A lot of Christians will label something mental health issues. Everything. You got some preachers on here, YouTube, fake preachers, prophets and all of them, that they will label any type of mental health issue a demon. When that's a lie. That is a lie. You get there's, I have training in that area as far as a whole lot of mental health stuff. And I know that certain medications for what, and I know firsthand because I experienced it in my family and all of that. And my mother, I don't know, I did not get her, and I don't know if I'm still able to get it. I should have got it long ago, her autopsy, to find out. When I last talked to someone in Chicago back in 2002 or 3, they said it would be in a warehouse. They got a couple of warehouses that they keep it in a file somewhere, and they only go out to these warehouses a couple times a year, and depending on how the weather is and how long that person want to stay in there looking for it. And in Chicago, this doesn't seem like they have good keepings of stuff anyway, because it was total. People want to look at Chicago right now as if it's, chaotic. It's the crime capital of the nation and all of this. Chicago's been crazy back in the days of Al Capone. The police have been corrupt back then, and all of the stuff that was happening. Chicago's been chaotic for decades. So people they're just looking at Chicago right now. Chicago's always been pretty chaotic long before that. So that's a whole nother subject there. So I don't know if I want to see, now that I understand the mental health and diagnosis and all of the certain stuff, what was there. Because my uncle told me that my father the family didn't want to commit her and try to get her help. And then he told me this. My uncle told me this in 2004 or 5 or whatever, somewhere there, told me that my mother attempted suicide a few times before she actually did it. And the thing was, it kind of almost made me remember, I ain't gonna say I do remember a time when she was asleep. I remember playing, and she was asleep, and I remember jumping on her leg, playing horsey, and bouncing around and messing with her eyes and messing with her and all of that, but she wouldn't wake up. She wouldn't do anything. And I was wonder, when I heard that, was that one of the times that she actually attempted to take her life then? Because she didn't wake up or nothing to play with me or do anything at that time. And I'm thankful that the Lord did, though, bless me with having a memory for such early years, because it's very low number of people that can remember back to when they were 3. But it allows me to have memories of my mom and my dad and stuff, even though it may be bad memory stuff, but I remember times with them. So here it was, my mother battled with that. I don't know what was going on. Was she something born with it? Was it part of after having kids and postpartum type stuff that was going on that wasn't diagnosed back then? I don't know. And will it show up in the autopsy report if I ever can get hold of one? I don't know. But one thing I do know, I know people like these Teddy Daniels and people out here with calling themselves representing the Christianity in some kind of way, or want to talk Christianity or talk about the love of God, country, guns, and all of this stuff. You don't love God with that kind of attitude. When you want to sit there in God's creation, whether you like the man or not, John Fetterman, he's God's creation. We all are God's creation. He created us. He took the time to create us and everything, and said it was all good, and everything he made was good, and he rested and sat back and enjoy. And sometimes I just think back every time I see the animals and the bugs and all of this stuff, and I'm just like, here Here in my job, there's always raccoons and out running around. And I remember when I had a raccoon in my attic, and I always would say, yeah, like, Lord, what's the purpose of a raccoon? I mean, what's their purpose? I don't know. What purpose do they serve? I don't know. And I wonder, like, what's the purpose of a possum? What's the purpose of certain little things? But that was his create. We created this world and all of us and everything within it. And he was proud of his work. God was proud of his work. And he loves each and every one of us so much that he sent his only begotten son. And just soon we'll be celebrating that begotten son named Jesus that came down and took on the form of flesh so that he can relate to you and me. And he took on the sins for us so that we can have eternal life, that we cannot be a slave to sin no more, that we can be set free from hate, set free from bitterness, set free from addiction, set free from this living for the love of monies and all types of things that is part of this world. He did that for us. And how dare us to sit there and look at other human beings out here and mistreat other folks and talk down to other people because you think you tough and bad. And a lot of these people, they think they so tough. You know, they make me, I just think it's funny. They tough guys. They get behind the microphone, get on the camera, you know, they sit there and get around with their little buddies and they'll surround and they'll talk a whole lot of tough stuff. But you know what? These folks are dangerous. These folks are dangerous. I've said it before and I'll continue to say it. They've been sent by the enemy, the devil himself, and he's used them to infiltrate and penetrate the church itself. And now they're within the church and the church is scrambling because once the defenses, the church hasn't done what it's supposed to do. Now that they've infiltrated that, the church is on retreat. The church is on the run. The church don't know what to do. Christians are in shambles right now. But you know what? Jesus, when he left, who did he leave us with? He left us with the Holy Ghost, the Holy Spirit that will guide us and lead us into all truth. And that's the difference that we have over the world. We don't have to succumb to people like the Teddy Daniels and the hateful folks around here. We can do better. We can conduct ourselves better because the Holy Spirit is inside of us, living through us. And we can conduct ourselves and we don't have to be hateful towards other people. We don't have to mistreat other people. But we can still continue to let our light shine, continue to preach the truth, teach the truth, and share it to those out there that are lost. Because that's the ultimate goal and that's the mission that we're supposed to be doing. We're not supposed to be worshiping flags. We're not supposed to be worshiping people that's running for presidencies or running for governorships or running for whatever within this world. These people love the world. If you notice, that their love is for the world. It's not for the Father and his work. It's for the world because ultimately that's all they're worried about. They want to sit there. They want someone to raise their hand, be proud that they actually got all the votes and spent all the millions of wasted money for a lion so that they can sit there and then push down your throat their own personal warped Christian agenda. Well, guess what? On this channel, we're going to continue to call that stuff out. We're going to continue to talk about issues the church are on our way from, expose Satan and his devices, punch him right in between the chops. Evangelism for God is the channel. My name is Maurice Braxton. If you're new, consider subscribing, hit like, coming along for the journey, because we're going to continue to marching on. We got to continue. We got to push back against these people out here that are acting like they represent the Lord, and especially these nationalists. They have to be stopped. They have to be stopped. We cannot allow them, vote them into power on things. We cannot allow them to get the platforms that they need to continue to push a false message of Christ. And we'll continue to move forward as the Spirit of God is with us. Until the next video, my friend, take care. God bless.